Welcome back, everyone, to a Wednesday edition of the FloTrack podcast. I am Kevin. He is Gordon. This is episode 619 for those of you scoring at home.
Technically, 621.
You love saying this
because we had two
bonus pods,
which
didn't get added. NCAA indoors that got canceled, and then emergency
Sha'Carri Richardson
pod during the suspension announcement in 2021. July 2021, probably?
Yeah.
Okay. So, 621 episodes then of the FloTrack podcast.
But we also had the bonus pods.
Okay. I just want to do a light little, historical refresher. I don't need to go through
So we're
the
probably
entire
more in like the
archive.
640s.
We're going to talk about the Silesia Diamond League that's coming up this weekend, which has really good fields. We're going to tie a bow on USA's, talk about the Semenya ruling as well. And you got to dive into the whole who's on, who's off the USA team, which is going to be fun as well, too. But first, Gordon, we have a sponsor. You excited about this?
I am excited.
We are sponsored by Wonderful Pistachios. Are you looking for a delicious and nutritious snack that packs a real protein punch? Crack into a good source of protein with tasty, healthy, Wonderful Pistachios. Each 1 ounce serving of Wonderful Pistachios contains 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. It's one of the highest protein nuts out there. But that's not all. Pistachios are also known for their fiber and better for you unsaturated fats, which may help keep you feeling fuller, longer.
And what's the best part?
The best part, Gordon, Wonderful Pistachios come in a variety of flavors and sizes, perfect for enjoying with your family and friends or taking them with you on your summer adventures. So whether you're dropping off the kiddos, like me, or running between meetings,
like me,
like Gordon, big meeting guy, fuel up with a healthy and tasty snack. Wonderful Pistachios will be your new go-to snack. Check out wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more about how these green little wonders can power up your day.
It's important. It's if you're running between meetings or picking up the kids, because if eating pistachios in the middle of a meeting might be a little overkill.
I don't know. Eat them all the
time.
time.
You're just like going through the PowerPoints and you're just like stuffing your face with all the pistachios.
WonderfulPistachios.com is the website. They are our sponsor. Let's get into the show. Mr. Mack, where do you want to start? You want to update us on who's in, who's out of USA's? Because we watched the races. We saw 3 people cross the line, or 3 people jump the farthest, throw the farthest, vault the highest, high jump the highest, or what have you. But who's in, who's out?
Decathlon, the
The
most.
Multi-event, the multi-most.
So we already know one person who's not on the team because she announced that she's not going to be on the 1,500-meter team. That is Athing Mu. Mm-hmm. She's going to just focus on the 800. She had the World Championship bye, so she's all in on the 800. She got second in the 1,500. The runner who got fourth was Sinclair Johnson. This is pretty much already known going into the race that this likely would happen. But even though Sinclair was just, hundredths of a second away from getting top 3, she's still going. The team is going to be Nikki Hiltz, Corey McGee, and Sinclair Johnson, which is still a great team. So we have to wait on seeing Athing Mu at the world level. Mm-hmm. Maybe Olympic. I mean, she's probably going to maybe attempt to double at the Olympics. Maybe. I don't know. Do you think?
Maybe. This is interesting, though, because we didn't even think the decision would have to come this year. We thought it would be something in the future or may never come at all. But Athing Mu is so good in so many events that we shifted from 8.4 to 8.15. And then when they were talking 15, we thought, well, she's still got to get top 3, and that's a really hard team to make. She ends up getting second. So the fact that she even has to make a decision just shows you how talented she is. But for the U.S. as a whole, I mean, you're sending Sinclair Johnson now, who's really good, won the U.S. title last year. And I think with a little bit more time to prep, she's very experienced as well. The U.S. is still sending a really good team. And I think for Mo, it makes sense. She's got a battle on her hands in the 800 with Hodgkinson and Mora. And the World 1500 is just different than the U.S. 1500 right now. When you have people like specifically Faith Kipyegon, who's running under 350. You have Gudaf Sagai, who's running low 350s. It's different than it is at the U.S. level. Makes perfect sense that Athing Mu would only run the 800.
Do you think there's any other potential scratches? Scratches is like not accepting the spot out there. I did look through. There are a couple other potential not saying they would do this, but, obviously Sean McGorty is in both the 5 and the 10, doesn't have the standard in either, so maybe he scratches one of those and goes all in on the 5 versus the 10, which would open up a spot at the 10K level. You have someone like Natasha Rogers, who's also has the standard in the 5, doesn't have it in the 10, so she may just say, like, hey, I'm out. I'm not going to do the 10, and then maybe there's an opportunity for someone to sneak in on the 10K team. But one person that I'm still not sure, do you think Sha'Carri Richardson accepts the 200-meter spot?
Yes. I think she does. I thought you were going to talk about somebody else.
Okay, well, we'll talk about someone else after this person, but you're just
100%.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't she? They're way more separated in the World Championships than they are in USA's. There's a whole couple days off between the 1 and the 2, unless they altered the schedule again. But
yeah.
USA's, you're having to run 6 races in 4 days. Worlds, it's much more spread out. So I would think she would run the 2.
But like, if you're Sha'Carri Richardson, would you rather go to Worlds, win the 100, and anchor the 4x1, and that's your weekend, or win the 100 and get 3rd in the 200? And end it on a 3rd place 200-meter finish.
What have I always said?
I feel like she might.
Well, no, she gets to anchor the 4x1 or run the 4x1 as well too. So she's not ending it on the 200.
Well, but ending the individual, there's a little bit of it's a lot better when you end your championship individually with a win versus with like a 3rd place, 2nd place finish. Would you not agree or disagree?
What's my rule about medals, Gordon? Do you want more medals
or less medals?
What's the rule?
More. You want more.
Right.
That's a good rule.
So if you can
live by that,
you can get more medals, get more medals. So the women's 100-meter final, day 3, August 21st. The 200 qualifying starts on day 6. So that's 2 full days off.
So, all right. I just
want
to throw it out there. There's a potential. And then, obviously, there's one other big one, Sydney McLaughlin.
That's what I was going to talk about.
She has the 400 hurdle bye, and she's on the 400-meter team. Do you think she does both or chooses one? What do you think she does?
I think we're going to find out soon. I think she's just going to focus on the quarter. But this is a situation where it doesn't really impact anybody on the U.S. side of things because she had the bye. So the other 3 will still go. It's not going to bump anybody else in. So Little, Muhammad, and Cockrell are going to go. What it does impact is who's going to win the gold, silver, and bronze medal at the World Championships. Because if she doesn't run it, we already know Britton Wilson's not running it. Femke Bol has got a clear path to a gold medal if Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone doesn't run.
Yeah. So I'm thinking she just does the 4.
That's what I think as well. I've been surprised in the past. It might happen.
What's first? 4 or the 400 hurdles?
I got the schedule right here. Women's 400-meter heats is on day number 2. So, yeah, the quarter is first. Again, it's not an ideal, it's not a perfect schedule because they start to overlap. 400-meter hurdles, heats are the next day. So it's messy enough. And listen, as you mentioned before, you have to train a bunch to go over the hurdles. I know she's done it so much it's probably ingrained in her head, but it adds a little element there of difficulty. And it's not like the 400 is going to be a walkover. She's going to have to contend with a lot of good women who can also run under 49 seconds.
So now let's dive into...
But there is a possibility she could switch completely. There's that possibility. She could say, I'm just doing the 400 hurdles. I'm scratching the quarter, in which case that would bump somebody up.
Yeah. Well, make a relay athlete all of a sudden running individually. It's like that meme.
Lena Irby is 4th.
Lena Irby, like, wait, I got to run into 3 extra 400s?
Yeah. My guess right now would be 400, not 400 hurdles. My second pick would be double, and then my third pick would be she scratches the quarter and just runs the 400 hurdles. That would be very surprising if she did that.
That would be weird. Let's talk a little bit, though, about... for those who don't know, if this is your first time watching track and field, I've only been watching track and field for...
11 years now.
11 years.
Because last year was a decade.
So I'm at the 11-year mark.
Yep.
Classic.
Congrats, by the way.
No, I'm so happy I've been watching track for 11 years now.
Yeah.
It feels so good.
For those of you who don't know, Gordon's mad at me about that comment, and he has not let it go.
Well, because you said it, and everyone took it like it was a Bible verse, and I've preached it to me, and now they think that I don't know anything about track.
To be fair, you said it, or it was said by me in the context of you talking about Bolt's world record being broken. I think that is where you ran into trouble, not what I said. But go ahead.
Whatever. All right, so obviously top 3 go to Worlds, but you need to have the world standard, which a lot of these athletes do, or you need to have a world ranking and be in the quota. And actually, a lot of these top 3 athletes do have a world ranking that is high enough. Someone like Joe Wascom in the men's 1500 did not have a world ranking, but because he ran well at USA's, his world ranking shot up, and now he's ranked high enough. But then there's people who don't have a world ranking and don't have a standard, and they need to chase. And they have till the end of the month, July 30th, to chase to be eligible to be selected to Team USA. If they're not eligible, Team USA will go to the 4th place finisher, 5th, 6th, until we get to someone who is eligible. So, Tyler, if we can bring up that graphic again. I tried to lay it out. I tweeted this out as well. This is the women's side of things. Athletes in the green, we'll just hold it on this right here. Athletes in the green, they have the standard. They're good. Athletes in yellow, they technically are good as of now because they have the world ranking. And then athletes in red have neither the ranking nor the standard. Now, you could have the world ranking, but there's going to be 2 more rankings that drop between now and July 30th. So you got to stay in the top tier. But likely, if you're in the world ranking on July 11th, you're likely going to still be in it by July 30th. The odds of it changing drastically is not likely. But you see this Raven Rogers, Kayla Edwards, they don't have the standard, but they're in ranking. Hannah Mall, pole vaulter, high schooler, she has a ranking. But notably here, I mean, that the 20K race walkers, none of them have it, which probably likely they're all just going to run the 35K race walk anyway, because the same 3 women are already on the 35K race walk team. So I think we're just going to have nobody on that team. Madison Wiltrout, javelin throw. If she doesn't get it, someone like Ariana, I don't know how to say her last name, Ince, she would likely get bumped. She finished like 6th or 7th, so she'll make the javelin team. So she's a big, not Madison Wiltrout fan because she wants to go to Worlds. The 2 high jumpers, Riley Anderson and Jenna Rogers, they don't have the standard or the ranking. It's going to be hard for them to get it. We'll see what they can do. But the one person here is Natasha Rogers. She doesn't have the ranking nor the standard in the 10K. The 10K standard is very hard to get. But here is the thing about Natasha Rogers. Technically, her world ranking actually is pretty damn good. I'm going to find out what exactly it is. It's going to take time because World Athletics thing sometimes. Let me find it. So her world ranking, according to World Athletics, is... she's ranked 23rd in the world. Okay?
Pretty good.
How big is the field?
Usually 24, isn't it?
24.
Yeah.
So you're like, hey, why isn't she in it? And she's ranked 23rd in the world with, certain people, certain women
countries having
who have more than 3 too.
Right.
So her ranking even goes higher when you take just 3 per country. But the thing that is screwing over Natasha Rogers is the fact that they changed the world ranking rule for the 10K to include cross-country results. And running, they need a sure 8 or 12, I'm not sure the exact number, of the top-ranked cross-country runners, a spot on team, which means women who aren't really good on the track 10K, who have a really slow personal best on the track, are going to go to Worlds over Natasha Rogers because of this cross-country element, which I think is screwed up. Because if it's just ranking, Natasha Rogers will get in. But because they add in, we also need to save 8 or 12 spots for cross-country runners, Rogers is on the outside looking in. Now, it's not the end of the world because Rogers still is on the 5K team, but it seems kind of screwed up that... do you think weird cross-country meets that were run in like Spain should matter for who's on the...
Nothing against Spain. I just think law of unintended consequences there. You do it because you want to encourage the best people in the world to run. And what ends up happening is just...
they don't run.
They don't run still because they figure they'll get in some other way.
Yep.
So then you have people run it and get spots. And then you have a situation where, there's a perfectly legitimate... Like it's... Natasha Rogers, with that ranking and how she's run, should be on the team, right? She belongs in a world championship setting. So I think that's just that's what happened here. They started with an idea of, we're going to try to get more people involved in cross, and instead what we've done is just devalue track. We have a question here from All in the Game. Why is Kara Winger on the list? Isn't she retired?
She is retired. But she could still go.
She has a bye.
She has a bye.
She could literally just show up.
Yeah.
Free trip to Budapest. Let's do it.
Show up. Just eat the food, enjoy the time. She should. Why not?
I bet she's still pretty good. She was on the broadcast this past weekend, so she's been dialed in. She knows what's going on.
I thought about it. It's like, no, you have a bye. She's retired, but if she wants to kind of come out of retirement for one last throw.
Women's throws, man. Just crushing it. Do you want to put the men up, too?
All right, let's do the men. So let's just scroll down and show the men. A little more red, especially in some of the jumps and stuff. But noticing Joe Wascom now has the 1,500 world ranking. He didn't have it, but because he ran well. So the 1,500 team should be set. The 800 team should be set with Harris and Murphy having ranking. The steeple team, they all are getting in on ranking. The big one here is Sean McGorty.
Sean McGorty's got some work to do. Poor guy. Goes and gets third in both. 5 and 10. It's a lot of running. And then he wakes up, looks at your chart, sees his name in red.
Yeah.
Your assignment
he's
is
a bounding
not...
guy, so he's like, is this our colors? But like,
no, he probably harkens back to his academic days. He's like, wait, I haven't turned in an assignment? What does Sean McGorty, what does he need to turn in, Gordon?
Well, he needs to either run the 5K standard, increase his 5K ranking, run the 10K standard, or increase his 10K ranking. Likely, he's going to try to get the 5K standard because the 5K standard is much easier to do, can get more attempts at it. I imagine that's what he does. And if he does, he's on the 5K team. What it also means is he's probably sacrificing his 10K spot, which means the fourth place finisher would be Grant Fisher. We talked about this on one of the pods, post USA's. If Grant Fisher then would scratch because of injury, it would go to the next guy, which is Paul Chelimo, who probably is not going to try because he has the 5K standard, then it keeps on going all the way down to counter Mance.
Mance, Rodriguez, Sprout, the next three. Yeah. But none of those guys have
No, but standards. Mance may go, hey, we're going for it. Run a 10K all out.
And if there's somebody who could do it,
it's Mance.
On his own.
Yeah, it's Mance.
On July 22nd.
It's Mance.
In Provo.
It's Mance. So that'll be interesting to see.
But there's also a possibility only two go.
No, I mean, that's true. Yeah. Or especially Fisher scratches because of injury.
Right. That's what I'm saying. If Fisher scratches, Chelimo already has the 5. Mance, I agree with you. He could go for it, but he's also a marathoner now. I don't think he's going to spend a ton of time trying to get on this team. Maybe I'm wrong, but maybe he does one attempt. If it doesn't, that standard is hard to do. It's not a foregone conclusion that they can get it. And then, because then the farther you go down the list, the more it's not about opportunities to run the 10K. It's about do they have the ability to run that fast right now. And a lot of them just don't. Otherwise, they would have finished higher up.
Other notable athletes, the men's long jump. The second and third place guys, Jerian Lawson and Javon Harrison, neither have a ranking nor a standard. I think the reason they don't have the ranking is because they just haven't done enough jumps. You need 5 competitions to your name. And Javon Harrison and... not Javon.
Javon Harrison and Jerian Lawson.
Sorry, I thought I said Javon Lawson. Jerian Lawson and Harrison, they need to jump more competition. So we need to have like a Lawson-Harrison jump fest. They need to jump 8 meters a couple more times. The ranking will pop up.
Do you think they'll get there?
Yeah, the reason they're not ranked is because they just haven't competed enough. Mm-hmm. I mean, Harrison's been out there doing a high jump. Now, there could be a chance Harrison's like, I'm in the high jump. Let's give it to the 4th guy and then keep on going. So we will update this on a weekly...
Or you go down to the 5th guy. Or go to the 5th guys.
Who's the 5th? Oh.
He'll already be there.
Cordell Tinch. There you go.
I mean, Stephen McCarter's in there at 4. But, yeah, just looking at the standards, very few people have the actual out-and-out standard. Cameron Crump has it. He got 12th. Jeremiah Davis got 9th.
So Jeremiah Davis, he's going to be...
Yeah. I think the world ranking, though, is what's going to be the saving grace here.
Here's my big question. If there's a situation where you are a 4th place guy and you could get in, you're the next one in line, what type of offer would you make to the person above you to either scratch or not attempt to go for it for you to, like, get on the team? Like, so you call up Sean, if you're... Say you're Sean McGorty, and Grant Fisher's like, I really want to... I mean, they're teammates, so pretend they weren't teammates.
Well, that's where it gets interesting, though. He's on the teammate thing.
Yeah.
So you go to the...
Sean's probably going to help the buddy out and let Grant get on the team.
That
makes sense.
Well, if he's healthy, but if not, then you're...
What I'm saying is, how much money would you offer...
But like women's 10,000, for example, with Schweizer in 5.
Yeah, would at least scratch to get Schweizer in?
Right, because Kaladi's in between Rogers and Schweizer, but she doesn't have the standard.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how
I
good
don't
friends
think she
they are.
would. No, I'm sure they're great friends, but she's like, you can't.
Would you scratch for me, Kevin?
Yeah, for you.
All right,
Well, I
thanks.
wouldn't want to run a 10K, so I'd be fine. But like, we talked about this before. The 5 and 10, you should want to have as many chances as you can, is what I'm saying. So even if you think you're better in one than the other, the race can develop a different way, and you can have, like, for example, it looks right now like the 5 is going to be a lot harder than the 10 for both the women and the men, because you're going to have Kipiegon run it for the women. And Ingebrigtsen run it for the men, in addition to just the overall depth that's there. Also, you could have on the women's side, I mean, Sifan Hassan, who knows what she's going to run. She's a little bit of a wild card. But the 10 looks like an easier, in quotes, path, which is why if you're Cranny, you got to keep that spot.
All right.
Good job, though, breaking that down.
I do my best.
Well
Also, the men's sprints and the women's sprints, they never really have this problem. They just all get the standard.
Yeah, but it's going to keep getting harder. And I think fewer and fewer people are having it overall because the standard just keeps getting better.
You think
and
there'll
better.
be a situation where we're going to see sprinters chasing?
Yeah, but it won't be as exciting because it's like, oh, whoops, yep, ran 998, I'm good.
Yeah.
With the distance races, there's more drama of, oh, what races are going to be in? Does the pace set up right?
What would you think would happen if they just got rid of the standard all completely?
Isn't that where this is headed? That's what you've always said.
Well, they want it 50-50. They want half the field to be people with the standard.
Is that what it is now?
Not in sprints,
No.
but that's ideally what they want. But imagine if they took
Is
it
this
all.
working?
What do you mean, is it working?
Well, the reason they want it 50-50 is because they want people to run at better. It's not that they want the World Championship field to be better or different. They
No.
were fine with the World Championships. This is all about fixing the regular season
Yeah.
and making the regular season better. Is it working? Is the regular season better because of this?
No, but all of a sudden what they're doing is like the Music City Track Carnival all of a sudden became a registered meet under the guise of it's a certain tier, silver, whatever status. And the way they be silver status is by following certain rules. But it's still the same track. It's still the same city. It's still the same fields. For the fields, in Music City all of a sudden didn't become better.
They've always been pretty good.
Yeah, it's just the same. Now it just it's anointed by World Athletics as being good.
Right. So you think no, right?
I don't think it's changed anything.
Will it change anything if it went to, like, where would be the point when it would change things? 75-25?
If they made it really crazy, it could screw over the NCAA because they could make it so every time you race an NCAA race,
You lose points.
you're wasting an opportunity. Especially for like, imagine Jasmine Moore. She jumps all these amazing marks, but they're all done at SECs, NCAAs, random dual meets here and there, and none of it looks in the eyes of the beholder as a solid jump.
You'd have to just get to Europe, or you'd have to hope that there's more U.S. meets, but then you put the pressure on meet organize. Then it's basically the fate of the World Championship team rests in make people to get it together and put on meets, that's a totally different financial cost.
The whole purpose is it's supposed to value finish versus time trialing.
Right.
Which I think is a good thing, but
you said it's not working.
It's not working. Well, it's hard to organize a sport that's all over the world, and it's not a league. The World Athletics isn't a league.
Yeah.
It's a governing body that just like puts on a championship. Like, you're never gonna have all track meets created equal as like a regular season because it's just not how the sport's designed. So, anyway, what now?
Good?
What are we talking about?
We are going to talk about Caster Semenya in a second, and then we're also going to talk about the Silesia Diamond League, which is really good, by the way. But first, let's talk about our sponsor, wonderful Pistachios. Gordon, we talked about it before. They come in the variety of flavors and sizes, perfect for enjoying with your family and friends or taking them with you on the summer adventures. Maybe we'll have some summer adventures, me and you, hanging out, end of track season. So whether you're dropping off your kiddos or running between meetings, fuel up with a healthy and tasty snack. Wonderful Pistachios will be your new go-to snack. Remember, each 1 ounce serving of Wonderful Pistachios contains 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. One of the highest protein nuts out there. the website wonderfulpistachios.com, wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more about how these little green wonders can power up your day. All right, so we got to talk about the ruling in the Caster Semenya case, another ruling in a Caster Semenya case. This one comes from the European Court of Human Rights, which ruled 4-3 in her favor that she was discriminated against in her case. Now, does this mean she's reinstated and she's back running? No, it does not. The Swiss court, as well as the Court of Arbitration of Sport, ruled against her. What this does mean is that those courts can now review their decision, allows them to review their decision. World Athletics is obviously standing firm in their regulations because, Gordon, since this case, before this ruling, the regulations on DSD athletes got tighter. Remember, we went from 400 to a mile to every event, basically. So the quote here from Semenya's lawyers, Caster's never given up. This is from the AP article. In giving up her fight to be allowed to compete and run free. This is an important personal win for her. It's also a wider victory for elite athletes around the world. It means that sporting governance bodies around the world must finally recognize that human rights law and norms apply to the athletes they regulate. As I said before, this was a 4-3 decision. World Athletics says we remain of the view that the regulations are a necessary, reasonable, and proportionate means of protecting fair competition in the female category, as the Court of Arbitration for Sport and Swiss Federal Tribunal, both found. So World Athletics is trying to get the government of Switzerland to appeal this ruling. So have a lot of appeals going on, but everything out there indicates that if there was a possible way for the ruling to get reversed, it would take an awful long time. So this is not a 2023 thing or even likely a 2024 thing.
So it's not reversed?
It's not reversed. They ruled in her favor, but the ruling that prevents DSD athletes from competing has not been reversed. Correct.
How can you rule in someone's favor, but the rule doesn't change?
Different types of courts here. So basically, they're saying that
it's like, okay.
Yeah. It's tough to figure out.
That's why you're doing a great job here. I appreciate this.
I mean, yeah. Swiss government was ordered to pay Semenya 60,000 euros, though. I saw that in the article. So the court basically said this is a violation of her right to her private life to be respected. But it's an ongoing situation here. We'll see. Again, I don't think it sounds like any of this is going to be resolved anytime soon. So it's reverting back to the ruling we had before, which was the strict regulations on DSD athletes.
Wouldn't World Athletics just be like, we're a private company or something, and be like, we can do what we want?
Right, but they're saying her human rights are violated, which is where this gets higher. It gets elevated. The Swiss court was supposed to be like, because Kaz ruled, right? And then after Kaz ruled, she had one more court to go to, which was the Swiss court. Once the Swiss court didn't rule in her favor, that was seemingly it. And then we heard, okay, she's going to appeal it to the human rights court. Again, that just allows them, that just says, okay, previous rulings can now be revisited.
Okay, because she got the win over here.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that she's competing next week in the 800 or anything like that. Remember before the...
But there's a possibility she could get back into the 800 by the Olympics?
Olympics, I think, would even be a stretch. I mean, you're talking about the gears of the legal system moving that quickly. And
So at the end of the day, Caster's mainly going through this process, not really for her career, but more for the careers of people behind her.
Yeah, this would more impact DSD athletes later on. Especially because the trend has gone more strict, right? Because before this, remember World Cross Country, she was running the 2K, the 4x2K, because she was allowed to compete in that event because it was not from 400 to a mile. Now, right, and we saw other athletes
and Boma went down to the 200.
Yeah. And the Insaba up to the 10,000, things like that. Now it's, okay, if you want to participate in this category, you got to make sure that you've taken, suppressed your testosterone for this long and X, Y, and Z. So here we are. Let's talk now. Let's move on, though, to the Diamond League meet that's coming up on Sunday.
Sunday.
Silesia Diamond League in Poland. I'm impressed at some of these fields. There's a lot of people who I didn't think would run these races because either they did so well at USA's, I thought, hey, they're just going to stay put, or some people who really struggled at USA's, and I thought, hey, that person might be injured. Are we sure they're going to go to Poland? And hey, we haven't had the meet yet, so there's still time for people to scratch, but looks good so far.
Yeah, what event do you think is your marquee event that you...
I mean, the Women's 100. The Women's 100 is the big four. Now, of the big four, or actually four of the big five, but one of those won't be running at Worlds because they didn't qualify. But you still have Richardson, Jackson, and oh, never mind. Hold on, this updated since the last time I saw it. Tulu's not in here anymore. Right?
Yeah, I don't see Tulu.
I swear she was on here before.
We got Hobbs versus Hobbs, though. That's great.
Okay, well, then I changed my mind. I
No,
mean,
it's still good. Jackson versus Richardson.
Right, but
those are
I-
the two best.
yeah, but if someone scratches, then we're down to.
Yeah.
Before it was, oh man, there's
That's
like
the big
5
three,
here.
yeah.
As long as 2 of them show up. But, and you know what? Tulu was gonna be my pick too, because she didn't have to run a trials
Yeah.
last week. Jackson did, Richardson did, Hobbs did, obviously. I mean, I'm curious to see what Aaliyah Hobbs does after.
What if Aaliyah Hobbs
wins it?
and wins it?
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. And what was the? Where did she?
She didn't even make it out of the semis.
Right, I was to say she's not
Yeah.
even in the pool, correct?
Yeah, she's not even in the pool.
So I guess that's still my favorite event, but Tulu not being there takes it down a little bit.
Do you think it's going to be a whoa race or a okay race?
So a whoa or an O?
A whoa or an O? No, a whoa, an O, or an eh, or a ugh.
No, I think it's gonna be a whoa just because if the names are there.
No, if it just because the name's there, you see 11-0 win or 10-95 win. That's not a whoa.
Yeah, it is. If
It's not.
If everybody on that list shows up still, so you still have Jackson. If you have Jackson and Richardson in the race, that's awesome. You're getting gold versus the gold medal favorite, or the co-gold medal favorites, you'd probably say, against each other. That's still a whoa.
They didn't run sub 10-8.
They could run it in 13 seconds. I don't care. Like if you're getting Jackson,
That actually
versus
would be a
Richardson,
whoa. Seeing a
heads up,
13-second
Yeah, they're gonna have the
Sha'Carri
weather-
versus Jackson.
the weather from the British Championships just shows up. Yeah, it's gonna be a whoa. Where it's gonna be an O is if one of them scratches, or then it's not gonna be as good.
Creating a new language here.
Well, I'm just
A whoa, an eh.
you know what I mean? Like it'll still be. It could still have the possibility to be a whoa if they run fast with only one of them there. But if 2 of them are there, then it's gonna be great. I'm kind of thrown off because I was looking at this like right up until a minute ago, and I swear it said Maria Jose Tulu on the list.
Maybe you're just seeing ghosts.
Guys, help me out here. It said Tulu on there, right? Help me out, chat.
Well, they're how they gonna? They can
Because
just.
chat's dialed in, man.
They do. They are more dialed in than me. They should do my.
Tell me about
they
an
should
event.
do the podcast.
Tell me, you pick an event. Tell me about an event you're excited about while I mourn the loss of this field.
I'm gonna go to the men's 100. Just go on the other side. Things men's.
Okay,
100,
be careful though, because there's been some scratches there too. I don't even know if they're on the list.
Are they not? Did they update it? Because Curly, you got Coleman.
Oh, they did update it.
They did update. No Coleman. All right, look at this.
And Lyles was in there before too, and I had heard he had scratched, and that's why I thought, okay, this.
So you know what? These were probably the lists that they had submitted pre-USAs, and then they realized, oh crap, everyone is now changing their plan. But still seeing Curly, Bracey Williams running, because I thought he was hurt, because obviously he had that weird moment that happened in the
Yeah, but he's here.
in the prelims. But he's here if he comes out and runs well. Charleston, I'm excited to see Charleston versus Curly. The U.S. champ versus Curly, who had the bye. Curly is the heavy favorite to win this race, but seeing how close Charleston can get to him will be exciting. And then I'm really actually most looking forward to Thompson.
Ooh, I thought you were going to say Keem Blake Revenge Tour.
Keem Blake Revenge Tour, but seeing Thompson now, after what he did at the Jamaican trials, you want to see how that translates when you go up against the Americans, when you go up against someone like Semenya, when you go up against Akeem Blake again, who clearly just had a bad weekend, but now there's no rounds, it's just one race, boom, see what happens. So, because if Keshawn Thompson goes out here and gets 7th, people are going to be like, we made a mistake by putting him on the team over someone like Akeem Blake.
I don't think he just ran the first heat, didn't he? I don't think he ended up running the final. He's one of the fastest guys who didn't run the final.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought. Why didn't he run the final?
Grab the results.
God dang it! Wait. Well, I'm still excited to see him. He run 9:91. He's the fastest guy in Jamaica. Not really. Technically, Blake is, or actually, he's one of the fastest guys in Jamaica. I just want to see what he does. There's a name I wasn't following, and then see how he does against someone like Charleston and Curley.
Gordon's lost.
I just want to see hundreds. I want to see a lot of hundreds. I'm big on the 100, big 100 guy, and I just want to see him run. I want to see more. I want to.
PJ Austin's there. So
PJ Austin.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard for him to do well. I think he timed his season around NCAA's, and it's gonna be hard for him.
You know who the favorite is here?
Curly.
Yeah. Big time.
What type of
favorite? Just giving you some
you're
analysis.
adding to the podcast? You know who the favorite is? The world champion, Fred Curly.
I'm just saying.
Anyway, I'm excited to watch that. Let's talk about the men's 15 though. Should we check their entries?
No, just funny. Melanie in the chat says I wouldn't pay to go to this race. There's gonna be so many scratches.
Yeah, this might be the scratch championship.
And I don't for the US. It's okay. You say you ran on Sunday, so you're not leaving until Monday, and if you're on the other side of the country, maybe you planned it ahead of time, so you're gonna go straight from the northwest of the United States all the way to Europe. Like that's going to be a long travel day, and then you're there. I mean, the good news is
the rust buster for Monaco. It's
right,
really what it is.
Right, but then you're cutting into all right. Now we're like, how long of a European circuit do you want to make it?
And then come back here, then go back out.
Exactly. How many trips do you want to take? Because you're just you're racking up a lot of miles, basically. If it was a Thursday meet or something, I'd say yeah, absolutely, you're going to see a ton of scratches. But the fact that it's on a weekend, I guess, gives you a chance to make it happen.
So, Jakob Ingebrigtsen running another 1,500. How many 1,500s has he run this year? It feels like he's run a lot. Like I feel like in general, for someone of Jakob's caliber, he's certainly racing a lot during the regular season. Mm-hmm. He's racing more than most people in the distance world race that can win. He's run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's already run 9 times this year, including indoor. He's already run 3 1,500s, 328, 327, 332. That's in reverse order. What do you think he's trying to get out of this race? I mean, he's going to win it. He's going to just run another 329 or 330 and get the win. And like, what is he trying to like, hey, let's see how my body feels going out hard so he can prepare for a record attempt in Monaco maybe? Or
yeah, we don't even know what he's going to run in Monaco. I know they could tweak the schedule to make it so it's a record attempt in whatever he does, but we don't know that yet. Yeah, this field is not as good as the other fields that he's run against. He's proven everything he needs to prove so far heading into Worlds. I just think this is more, not a rust buster per se, since he's already fresh, but a little bit of a reset before Monaco. I think you're right. And I think this is still a good field, and he seems to not want to waste races. Everything he's running in is really quality, like in terms of Diamond Leagues, and that's the plan.
I think I know what he's doing. I think he's using this as a practice for weird scenarios that could happen in a 1,500-meter final. Mm-hmm. We know if the scenarios go to his strength, he's going to win. Yeah. We even know when it goes to not his strength, he's going to win. But what if it goes to something really weird? So what I think he's doing, I think he's going to try to force himself to have the worst opening 800 he could possibly imagine and fight his way to see, like, how can I recover from a bad first 2 laps where I have bad position, I'm trapped, I'm in the back, the pacing is weird, and I'm just going to find a way to overcome adversity and train yourself to prepare for weird situations. I think he's using it as a practice how to win a race when things don't go as planned. So maybe he'll be like, don't pay attention when the gun goes off. You're like, oh, it's going, and then start, and then kind of
like when Michael Phelps' coach would like break his goggles right before he did a time trial in practice.
Sure,
gets ready for them to fall off.
Yeah,
in case
he needs to have like a shoelace on. He's going to start with a shoelace untied. 100%, this is going to be a shoelace untied race.
If you're right, I think I'll give you a lot of credit. I don't think that's what he's doing.
Why not? What else is he gonna get? I got to
Money.
win.
And these races are grouped together, so it's not just this one. There's other races around it. We got the one in Sheikh Eshkavayevar Continental Tour coming on Monday. And I'm not talking specifically about him, but just in general.
I mean, that'd be cool if he's like, all right,
together.
I'm gonna untie one of my shoes. I'm gonna have a bad day of sleep. Like he's gonna stay up really late.
No, don't do that.
He's gonna eat something that doesn't sit well in his stomach. He's gonna try to sabotage himself in as many different ways as possible
to see what place he can still get.
Prepare for He's gonna eat shitty food the night before, bad sleep, untied shoes. He's going to get in a fight with a family member, so he just has this frustrating anxiety in his head. All that stuff, and then he's still gonna go out there.
Forget his jersey.
Be late to the start line.
Yeah. I liked this better when you just said he was gonna go out slower. I believe that more.
He's gonna like put a pebble in his foot, so it's like
so annoying.
Little pebble in the shoe.
Yeah, I liked it better when this was just a situation where he goes out slow and tries to kick everybody down. And even that I think is a little far fetched. This, on the other hand,
it's a self-sabotage race to see if he can get the win. That's what I think.
I think he's going to run it like every single race, and he's going to win by a second. That's what I think is actually going to happen. All right, give me your men's 400. I think is going to be low-key interesting because Dos Santos is on the start list. Not 400 hurdles, but 400. You also got Van Niekerk in there, Samu Kanga, Deadman, and Norwood as well. But give me your top 3 races overall in this meet. If you had to summarize them, how would you break this down? Like, what are the main 3 races you want to see and why?
I mean, we just talked about the 3.
Yeah, but do it again maybe in about 30 seconds if you could. And look right at that camera.
Are you trying to make a clip? You trying to force me into making a clip?
No, I'm just saying because
presented by Wonderful Pistachios.
No, the with all the scratches and stuff of the 100, it kind of changed a little bit of who's where and everything like that. So I'm just wondering, do you have a top 3?
I mean, I still think the 100 is going to be fun to watch because you're seeing Curly, you're seeing Sha'Carri, you're seeing just see what they do. Like we might see something special in either the men's side or on the women's side. So I think losing to Lou and losing Noah Lyles isn't ruining the 100s, in my opinion. I mean, there could be a fun little thing going on in the women's 400. Paulino's running. Mm-hmm. She lost her world lead this past weekend to Sydney. So she's run 48.98 this year. 48.7 is now, 74 is now the world lead. So maybe she runs out, goes 48 low, which then gets Sydney to be like, ooh, okay. I'm going to have to be on my A game to win worlds. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess the top 3 races for me is going to be women's 100, men's 100, and then
no, you couldn't do it. All right, thanks anyway
men's
for trying.
15.
That was great. Yeah, that was great. That was awesome.
Well,
Not helpful at all. Here's what I'll say. I'm paying attention to the people who are going to be really motivated, even more so to run. Okay. And I think Curly is going to be especially motivated because he ran one event at USA's, the 200, and he missed out on the team. I know he's always seems motivated, but I think we're going to see almost another level of motivation for Fred Curly. He's going to be locked in even more than he was before in that 100. So I'm looking forward to that in the men's 100. Women's 100, it's just cool that you get to see 2 potential gold medalists go head-to-head a few weeks out of the World Championships. And we had Richardson get the world lead and then Jackson get it right back. Jackson went on to run really well in the 200 as well. So that women's 100 is going to be fun. Again, they're both coming off of national trials, so it's going to be difficult to read way too much into it, but can't take for granted any time 2 potential gold medalists line up against each other. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, men's steeple could be good too. You have El Bakali in there. So, world record potential with depends how much of the year of the steeple this is.
And like every other big European meet, Diamond League, Continental Tour, don't matter. Mondo doing the pole vault. He's always got to don't watch the first few. Just wait to the end of the meet because he'll be doing his 620 attempts and see what he can do. So
I think and even in the events we didn't like the women's high hurdles is awesome. Like every event is pretty high class here. Women's 8, you get to see Mora in there. Gould is in there. Herd Klecker will be running. Nakai. So not Mo and Hodgkinson, but a lot of talent in the women's 8 as well. And then the women's 3 is really good too. I think Sagai is in there. She's still in there. Yes, she is. Good enough. Sagai's still in there.
Are we gonna have a podcast before Monaco? Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Monaco is the 21st. Yeah. So.
Because Monaco, Sydney's there. We have the potential 400 hurdle showdown with Benjamin. Well, I mean, we'll talk more about that. But
yeah. Benjamin said he's TBD, but for sure we should get Dos Santos and Warholm.
Yeah. So there could be some fun things going on in that world. So Monaco, man, they always find a way to make that meet crazy amazing.
All right, that's it.
Anything in the chat?
Chat. Let's see what's going on in the chat.
Well, okay, no, hold on. That's not it. I wanted to title this podcast Winners and Losers of USA's.
And I told you we did 4 recap podcasts from USA's, and we're good.
Yeah, but we never talked about the winners and losers.
We literally gave MVPs, and you
That's
expanded
not a winner or
that to
loser.
top 6. You said you gave out trophies to everybody. Those were all winners.
But we didn't talk about losers? Should we talk about losers? Or people don't like it when we talk about losers.
Yeah.
They get their feelings hurt.
Yeah, people don't like that.
But let's do it anyway.
I thought you wanted me to read the chat.
Read the chat, but I think that's the segment people want to hear is who is your winner and loser of the weekend?
So Bowerman had a rough weekend.
Okay.
Now, it's kind of deceiving though, because you could say,
Cranny and
they only got, but they both got in on 2 teams, so you could say they filled up 4 spots. But if
Yeah.
you look holistically at Bowerman,
Schweizer, Frericks, Tier.
yeah, Fisher, a lot of injuries there too. And again, I mean, Duncan Hamilton just signed with them. You're not going to score that against them, but
Josh Thompson.
Right. So that would be one. But again, it's a little misleading.
But at the same time, Jerry's future Bowerman athletes, the Oregon redshirt freshmen, all ran really well at U20s. Birnbaum ran well. They had a steepler win the U20. So Oregon, low key, I've been doing some future cross country rankings. Their cross country team, low key, might be a top 10 program with all freshmen and redshirt freshmen.
Who would have thought Oregon could put together a top 10 cross country team against all odds?
Well, they didn't do anything
Incredible.
The first year of Jerry Schumacher has been no one is running. We're just all chill. I mean, they're running, but everyone's running red shirt.
And that surprised
on the men's
you?
side. Didn't
surprised you?
No, that's what he does with.
It's like saying the 8th year of Doc Rivers is losing a game 7. It's kind of predictable.
But now they're gonna all be
You handled that well. I thought that would derail the whole. Sorry.
They're gonna be good with a bunch of true freshmen and redshirt freshmen next year. It's gonna be interesting to watch.
Hold on, we got a good question here.
Okay,
I'm preempting your thing for this relay predictions. I'm guessing this is track for all. So I'm guessing track for all. Are you asking like who's going to be on the U.S. team in the 4x1, the 4x4? Is that what you're asking? Because if so, that's what we're going to answer. So we talked about this a little bit. You think the men's 4x1 is so clear cut now?
Yeah.
Because of how things broke down. Explain that again.
Yeah, it's going to be Coleman to Lyles to Charleston to Curley. Or Coleman to Curley to Charleston to Lyles. Curley and Lyles will be on the 2nd or 4th, and then Coleman would lead off, and Charleston would be 3rd.
And explain why it's so clear cut.
Well, it's so clear cut because
Lyles made the 100 team.
Lyles made the 100 team. So, and the 4th place guy on the 100 is
Brandon Carnes.
They're not gonna put him on it over Curley.
No. Yeah.
And you thought, maybe Bromell, who was 6th. Who's just going to come into his form late, but Bromel's hurt. He's having surgery, so he's off. And then you look at the other 200-meter guys, Knighton and Bednarik. Curley and Charleston and Coleman are all better 100-meter runners than Knighton or Bednarik. So it's pretty obvious that's the 4. And if that is the 4, then they know, and they don't need to what we doing? You just those are the 4. Do it. Done.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll still do that, but they could. They could do that. What you need to have happen in order to avoid selection drama is you need to have your big 3 get in the 100, right? Run the individual 100. Otherwise, if you have someone run over their head in the 100, then it's like, oh man, they got 5th and made the finals and ran 990 or 988. We have to include them. Yeah. That's not possible anymore.
Yeah.
It's not possible because Lyles would be the guy who, if a third runner ran poorly, they'd put in Lyles in the 4x1. They'd probably put him in anyway at this point. But, like, there's none of that now. And Curley coming off the bench makes sense. So, yeah, Charleston, Coleman, Lyles, Curley. You could even probably write down the order now, too.
Yeah, I think it would be Coleman to Curley to Coleman, Curley, Charleston, Lyles.
Coleman, Curley, Charleston, Lyles.
And then you could switch Curley and Lyles if you want.
Well, no, you also could. No, you can't put Curley on the curve.
No, you could put Curley on the anchor.
Well, I'm saying you also could put Curley on, you could put Lyles on the curve, and then just have Charleston anchor too.
No.
I don't know. I kind of want Lyles on a curve.
Nah.
Nah.
Do you know? Actually, I was thinking you might want to put Sha'Carri on a curve.
So her curve was really good.
Her curve is amazing.
Let's talk about the women's then.
But they probably would put Brittany Brown on a curve because she is a good 200-meter runner as well. So they're probably going to lead off with.
So you got Richardson, Brown, Davis, Clark, Jefferson, Terry are the top 6 in the 100. And then the 200.
I could see them.
You had Thomas, Richardson, White, Steiner.
So I think they put Thomas on the team, but I think there's going to be controversy about what's the 100-meter order again for the women?
Richardson, Brown, Davis, Clark, Jefferson, Terry.
There's going to be some thought to put Terry on that team.
And
she was
might be a
sixth,
good pick.
Though. And so it's going to be hard for them to be like, you're taking the sixth finisher and put him on the team over Brown
Jefferson,
or Davis.
Clark,
But they did put Eli Hall on the team for the men's side.
And Terry was clutch last year.
So there might be
that was big pressure spot last year, and she ran really well in Eugene. She's running in these diamond leagues. Maybe I don't know how much they factor that.
I think that's going to be Terry's. She's going to be like, I need to run really well 100s, show consistency, so I can be on that 4x1 team. I think this is going to be the big regular season of Terry campaigning for a 4x1
The gap
spot.
isn't that big. The gap is not that big between her and fourth.
And this experience of Terry?
Yeah, right now. But Jefferson has experience though too. I guess you just wait. That one is much more difficult to figure out. I don't think Richardson will end up running third. I think she'll either run first or second. That one's way more up in the air. Do you put Gabby? Does Gabby end up getting?
I think you put Gabby in the second leg. I think they're gonna put Gabby 2, Richardson 4, and then
Davis.
Terry and
Tamar Davis or Brittany Brown.
I'll put Brown on 2. Brown on 3rd.
Yeah.
And then opener, I don't know.
Either.
The women might be screwed up because they might have to be like, let's wait and see how the 100-meter rounds unfold.
Yeah, 100%.
Which could have.
This is the opposite situation that the men have.
Yeah.
Opposite situation.
Yeah. So.
Okay, 4x4. So Mo can't run it, obviously, because the 800. All in the game says on that one, Tamari to Gabby to Brittany to Sha'Carri. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, and the thing is, Tamari versus Terry is like what my thought would be. Do you put Tamari Davis, who's first time at Worlds, or do you put Tanisha Terry, who's been there and done that?
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so 4x4s. I would put Sydney on. A lot of people might disagree with that. I put Sydney on.
Yeah, it's gonna be Sydney.
Thoughts?
It's gonna be Sydney.
I put Britton Wilson on too. I put Talitha Diggs on.
Over Delilah or Shamir?
Yeah, and then I think the last spot we would go with
Shamir or Delilah?
Gabby Thomas.
Gabby Thomas. I like that.
She ran the quarter.
She ran 49, yeah.
She ran the quarter for this.
I think, I could see, because they put Steiner on it last year.
Right.
So I think they could do, they'll do Sydney, Britton, Talitha, and Gabby. I think that's the 4.
Guess who's winning that relay?
The women, the USA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is awful analysis.
What do you mean that's not awful?
What do you mean?
That's a win.
Okay,
it's a win
we
for
know
the
that's
US.
a win.
A lot of people don't think that.
I do think it'll be the top 3 U.S. women and then plus Gabby. I think Gabby gets the 4th spot. All right, what about the men? The men is the hardest one, I think, to predict because
Men's 4x4? Okay, in this scenario, is Michael Norman running the
I don't
4?
know.
Okay. Let's just say...
I don't think Norman will be on the team.
I'll give him a... We'll just hold that aside for a second. I'll give you 5 then.
No, you got to give me 4.
Well, no, I'll give you... And then if Norman runs, it's this person. If Norman's healthy, he's on the team.
Give me 4 and then tell me who is replaced by Norman.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to say. So...
Benjamin's 1.
Benjamin's on the team. Deadman is on the team. Norwood is on the team. And then we get to that last spot. Probably Quincy Hall.
What about a man named Fred Curley? He did run a 400.
He did run a 400.
So he's eligible.
Yeah. And he's not going to have a 200 in his legs. Are you talking about, for fun? Yeah.
I think it's Curley, man. You got to put Curley on that team.
But if Norman is healthy, I don't think you're going to have Curley on that. There's not going to be enough spots. Because I think Deadman and Norwood are going to run well enough.
Yeah.
In the open. Yeah, that's a tough one. That one, though, that's a pretty good team, too. I'm just saying. A lot of people don't
Breaking news.
All right.
The men and women in the U.S. are really good at the 400.
Mixed 4x4.
I'm not even going to predict that because the mixed 4x4 is just, they just go weird with it. With
you
the
need
prelim.
to figure out
who the best team? You put Sydney in a thing,
Yes.
and then you put Rye Benjamin and
You know who's winning that game?
and a healthy Michael Norman.
You got to figure out a way to run 308 because 309 always wins it, and then we run 310 basically. Put a team together, do the math, put a team together that will run 308. And
They're going to screw it up.
I know. They're going to not pick the best squad.
They're going to put 2 women who run 51 seconds and 2 men who run 45 seconds, and we're screwed.
Yeah.
Even though we should put 2 men who run 44 seconds and 2 women who run 50 seconds, and then we'll be fine.
We need to have people raise their hand and volunteer to do that one so that way the U.S. can get it back. If you're a U.S. fan. If you're a fan of the Dominican Republic or Poland or whatever, you're loving this.
It is kind of wild that the team that wins the 4x4 on the men's and women's side can never win the mixed one.
It's a perfect embodiment of track and field and U.S. track and field.
So wait, they have the 4 best runners on the women's side and 4 best runners on the men's side. Mm-hmm. So when they take their 2 best, they choose their 12th guy, the 12th and 13th men and women.
Yeah. All in the game says mix will be Willie Bowling, Lena, and Rosie F. Young.
Yeah. It's going to be all college people.
Yeah. All right, that's it for the pod. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks to Tyler for producing. Thanks to our sponsor, Wonderful Pistachios. We'll be back
Monday,
12:30 to 1:30 Central right here on YouTube. We'll talk to you guys then.
Like and subscribe.